So welcome back to my channel. Let me move this. See, we're already messing up. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be very dark. It's going to be probably very alarming to a lot of you. Y'all know I like to come with a receipt, right? I feel like that's the way to sort of get the guessing game, get the like, oh, well, it's hearsay or whatever, right? And unfortunately, I have tried and searched. I have one more possibility to possibly have a receipt, but if I do, I will do a post about it. But I was a part of an MLM company. For those of you that are new, maybe just popping on, just watching this, I have seen some things. The lengths that people will go to try and maintain a rank, to try and maintain a lifestyle, to try and stay at the top of leaderboards. I mean, it's gross. And I will say it's weird. I would never say that I was a person to be easily influenced. I always even said, like, growing up, dang, like, how do people get peer pressured? Like, my brother, for example, was one who always, I felt like, got peer pressured into things or was influenced by, like, with his friends doing bad stuff. And not that I'm like a saint, but when friends or people I was hanging around was like, oh, we're all gonna do this, I'm like, nope, I'm not. Not only am I doing that, I'm a tail on all y'all. When it came to a lot of different things, I've just never been somebody to just blindly follow. Like, I'm not like, oh, you're a ride or die. No, first of all, if I'm riding, who's driving? Are you insured? Do you have survival? Like, how long have you been driving? Whose car are we getting in? Has anybody ever died in this car? I got questions. Are we stopping for snacks? Do we got to chip in for gas? Where are we going? When are we going to be back? Can I sleep on the way? Like, I got questions, okay? So when I was in deep into my MLM, I want to say what I'm about to share. It happened in December of 2020. And it was probably the most disgusting thing I've ever witnessed. And I've witnessed some disgusting-ish. But this by far took the cake. Still to this day, when I tell people about this, they're like, you're lying. Like, no way. And I'm like, listen, I'm trying to get my hands on the voice memo that was sent to me about this, but it's difficult. So I'm going to share with you a little, and again, I apologize if I'm not getting the exact story correct. I will link a full on cover of this girl I follow. Her name's Kendall Ray. She does like true crime. She does a lot of, I want to say, like, I don't know if it's called investigative journalism, but she shares on YouTube a lot of like true crime stories and things. And so she shared this story, which is how I want to say I really learned everything about it. But so there's a story of a young woman. Her name is Alexis Sharkey. I don't know if I say is or was, because it's still her name, but I don't know. I'm not like I love true crime. I love, like, again, all true crime and documentaries and things like that. So again, I just do apologize if I say the wrong terminology or if I say the wrong words. If you've been watching my videos, you know I'm going to say the wrong shit. Like, that's just going to happen. So the story I'm going to share has to do with a beautiful girl. Her name is Alexis Sharkey, and she was in the same MLM that I was in. Now, I never met her, didn't know her. Wasn't following her, like, this is a really large MLM, and you don't know every single person in it, right? So she was a director in the company. So basically, and when it comes to directors, she was like third from the top, okay? And what happened to her is that she had gone missing on Black Friday in 2020. If you see me look over here, I just have some notes. She went missing on Black Friday, November 27, 2020. And it kind of started to get picked up by a bunch of different people in this MLM. They were like, hey, did you hear this girl's missing? She's a director. It was very kind of quickly spread amongst the chats. And as somebody who is interested in true crime, I was kind of like, whoa, like, well, that's strange. Like, how is this? I think everybody's a suspect. Like, if somebody's like, oh, they're missing, or, oh, we can't get a hold of them. I'm like, oh my God, the worst has happened. Like, I'll create a whole scenario in my head, like #Pisces. Like, that's just me. So when this had happened, everyone was kind of watching closely. And then after a while, when I don't know how long until she had gone missing until her body was found. But within that time, there was kind of this, I want to say this just like somberness that came over the company. It was, there was email sent out, about Alexis. And it was just a very sad time when anybody that's within kind of your company passes away, especially so tragically. Like, it was unfathomable. Like, and back and forth, people were sharing what they think had happened. And this was before her body was even found. When she was missing, people were like, we're going to her Instagram, we're looking and trying to put pieces together, and people are trying to help, or we're just trying to figure out what's happening, right? Because if you go to her Instagram, she is an influencer. She has a beautiful Instagram page. She's a beautiful girl, like, takes great content, like, it seems like she would just be a natural at something like multi-level marketing. But if you go to her page, you'll see like, a lot of interaction in her comment section, a lot of likes, and you'll see some pictures of her husband, which immediately right away, when I first saw the pictures of her and her husband, I immediately thought that he was responsible, or he knew more, or just something. The math wasn't mathin', right? Which, if you haven't heard the story, her husband, I want to say, was going to be charged with her murder. But when the police went to basically arrest him, he unalived himself. So, which is terrible. Like, the whole thing is just very, very, it's just tragic. Which brings me to a conversation that I had in December. I want to say it was December, because if she went missing on Black Friday, it had to have been, in December 2020. So as you know, in MLMs, during different parts of the month, they'll post, oh, who's on leaderboards, who's at the top, who has the most customers, who's recruited the most reps. They have different things like that. So in my particular MLM, I had a friend who is a sideline. She has since excommunicated me. I'm not going to say her name because this is just terrible, like what had happened. So she's excommunicated me, but we did speak frequently. I would consider us friends. So leaderboards came out, right? And this particular individual, she was always on leaderboards for customers. And at this time in December, people were struggling, okay, in this MLM. Math wasn't mathin', numbers weren't numbering. And so I had reached out to her because she was my friend, and we would frequently exchange like, girl, what are your numbers like this month? What are your numbers like? Blah, 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 blah. So I had reached out to her once I saw her name. Like, I think her name was like on top of the VIP leaderboards or the customer leaderboards. In this particular MLM, they call VIPs customers. So if you hear me reference that. So anyway, I reached out to her and I was like, girl, like, how are you doing this? Like, what's your volume you're bringing in this month? How are you like getting all your customers? Like, what's a trick? Like, give me some tips or something. I'd never been one to have crazy good like volume on my own. Like, every month I teetered between like 2,000 and 3,000, but never more than that. So I was getting her tips, we're sharing. And then all of a sudden she says, okay, this is going to sound really bad, but you're my friend, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, what? And she says, well, that girl who is missing. And I was like, you the Alexis Sharkey girl? She was like, yeah. I was like, okay. And I'm thinking in my head, how the heck does this have anything to do? And we had talked about the case before, so it wasn't just out of nowhere. Like, we had talked about it. And so out of nowhere, she says, well, what I've been doing is I've been going to her Instagram page, and I'll try to find some of her VIPs on her Instagram page. I'll go to like past photos. I'll go see who likes her page, like who's liked different photos from back when she was around. And I try to find her VIPs. I follow them. I reach out to them, basically saying that she reaches out to this girl's, tries to find her customers on her Instagram page, which is it's not hard to do. You can go to her page, go to her past pictures, see who's liked it, go look at their Instagram, see if they're a customer or not, or if they're a rep or not. If they're not a rep, they're probably a customer. And so she was saying that she goes and that she does that, and she reaches out to them and sees and tries to sign them up as now her customers instead of Alexis's. When she told me that, you guys, I literally, like, my jaw dropped. I said, I called my husband in, and I was like, can you listen to this and make sure I'm not crazy? Because listen, she's a little bit crazy sometimes, okay? Many a funny farm I have tended. So I'm like, wait a minute. Am I imagining that this just happened? And I played it for my husband, and I told him, and he was like, whoa. He was like, you need to stay far away from that. That's terrible. That's on another level of some shit. Again, I wish I would have saved that, not to do harm to anybody with it, but again, this isn't to bash the rep. This is just to show that when you are in a cult, a commercial cult, or when you are in an MLM, and you get so addicted to having a certain amount of money, to making a certain rank, when, you know, your uplines are messaging you like, hey, where you at? And it's month end. Like, month end mode is a real life thing. And I will put the definition here of what that is. If you're like, wait, what's month end mode? And it's always just sat with me that how gross, because I personally don't think that this person who's doing this or who did this, I don't think that it's in her. I mean, I want to say that I don't think that it's in her to do something so gross. I honestly just think that she doesn't know that what she's doing is so disgusting. I don't think that she sees what she's doing is wrong, as well as I don't think a lot of the people that are in this commercial cult, because when I was in it, I didn't see the things that I was doing were wrong. I couldn't see that the constant pushing and the manipulating lines and the, you know, putting money over here or doing this, like, allegedly, like, I couldn't see all the gross things that I was doing. I was like, no, this is just the way you play the game. This is just the way that it happens. So if you are in a commercial cult, or if you're wondering what these girls do, this is the links that they go to, okay? They will go to somebody's page who is deceased or missing, and they will go and try to poach their customers just to help themselves. You guys, I wish I was making it up. And if I've reached out to the company to see about getting the receipt, if and when I hear that, I will be sure to edit it to hide the person's voice. But it's wild out here in these streets, y'all. It is wild. And I know that sometimes we get desensitized because we see so much batshit crazy shit online, and you think that's not true. People wouldn't really do that. I'm telling you, think twice before you sign on to an MLM, because before you know it, you'll be out here doing stuff that is so outside your personality, your beliefs, your nature, human decency, all for what? So that you can make a buck. So yeah, sending lots of love to Alexis's family, her friends, people that she worked with, and yeah. This is probably the wildest video that I'll ever make, because I've been sitting on this for a hot minute, not knowing how, because I don't want to be disrespectful to the person who's passed away. But I do think that people need to know the lengths that people will go to, the lengths of pressure, the lengths of sickness that people will go to try and be successful. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye. What the hell was that? I need some sage. Because... Did you guys hear that thunder? I'm scared. Oh my gosh. Okay. Lord Jesus. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. So that you... I need a crucifix. Tom Cruise. Oh, I have a hair. Call the law. Help me, Jesus. The hell? Hey, turn this off.